Alan's co-host. I think you can probably record to the cloud.
Uh,
Maybe I can. Let me see if I can. I can't record to the cloud unless I'm a co-host.
well, let's see. Is Tony the host? No, am I the host?
I am the host, and Alan, you are the co-host.
So, well, I can probably record to the crowd. Wow, the crowd. I can record to the crowd.
The crowded cloud.
And also, Tony, it is very easy to crop in YouTube if you want to crop this part out.
Yeah, we might do some of that.
Okay, I think the cloud is being recorded now to, or we are being recorded to the cloud
Okay, perfect.
or the crowd.
Well, thanks everybody for joining today. This is our spring 2026 PPA quarterly meeting. Excited to see everybody. I guess this is my first official quarterly meeting as a PPA officer, as the new secretary, Andrew as treasurer. And Andrew is going to kick things off for us with a quick note.
Yeah, so because of the way that everything was set up with the treasurer's account at Mechanics Bank, um, the closest Mechanics Bank to me is a 4.5 hour drive, approximately. It seems to be regional to California. Not, well, there's still a few regional banks left. Not all of them have been taken over. But talking with Alan as we did the transition and everything, we kind of thought, well, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to have a new account that is with a larger bank that is not regional, so that when I eventually, in 10 years or so, am able to convince someone to take over the treasurer's duties, that I may actually be able to get them converted over a little easier. And so for me, that means that the Wells Fargo right up within 1 mile of my house is a pretty easy way of doing things. So I've gone through and gotten everything pretty well lined up. Our Nevada business license and everything like that is probably good enough, but the person who I went in and talked to said that it would help to have a meeting minutes that said that I had the ability to start this account and be the sole person running the money on that. So today was going to be a possibility of having that in our quarterly meeting so that I could have that to be able to print out and take in and go along with our Nevada business license to say, yes, I have that ability to start this account and be the person who actually operates it. So I don't know. I didn't look ahead of time at the rules, the standing rules. Are we at quorum? That's
Oh,
the
I
biggest.
don't think we have an official number
wait a
for
minute.
quorum. You're good.
Wait a
Oh,
minute. Wait a minute.
I
When
don't
we
think we do.
rewrote our bylaws, we had written in there, as I remember, Alan, that a quorum would represent whoever was present. So we do not have a specific number for a quorum, an official quorum.
yeah, that's
I
that's
think
the
we
good
have a quorum
Robert's Rules
all
of
the time.
Order cheat code for it.
What?
That's the Robert's Rules of Order cheat code for quorum. In
Well,
that,
it was a kind of a way to take care of that. Am
yeah.
I correct, Alan? I've forgotten exactly how we
Yeah,
used that.
yeah. No, we used to have a quorum, but
Yeah, it
we
was.
restated it as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So basically today, then just what I need for these minutes is to be able to have someone say, to put forward that, yes, Andrew Kerr
Oh,
has the ability to open this account and be the person in charge of the money for the PPA so that I can take that in and open the account. So I'd rather not have to set that motion for myself. It
I'll
would,
set the motion.
thank you, Mary.
The motion being
that I can open this account for PPA to use as our banking.
Andrew Kerr is hereby authorized.
Mm, yes. Mm.
I would imagine the president of PPA should do that, but since he's not present, we do have a lot of officers plus past treasurer, and I think that should be sufficient.
Mhm.
And a quorum at our meeting. So,
Yes.
Well, Mary had the motion. I will second.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
and
Everybody for,
here, aye.
Aye.
and nobody against. Okay, great.
It's unanimous.
That just makes my life easier. And Alan has already sent the check so that we can set the account up so that there will be no fees when I set it up. That was an important thing also in my mind, was to make sure that we didn't get charged anything, because heaven forbid that a bank who's already making money off of you should get more of our money.
I'll leave that part out of the notes that you're going to show
Yeah.
Highly redacted minutes.
them.
Andrew, it's interesting that the Mechanics Bank, our old bank, they wanted to have a second person as a signer. And Carl, I remember going through a process for you to be on the account as a second person. But I guess Wells Fargo doesn't need that.
And Wells Fargo doesn't care about too much.
Yeah, okay.
They just said that by having these minute notes that I was authorized to do this, that would eliminate the need for anything like that. It essentially was just to make sure that this one person, the PPA treasurer, is the person who is going to be handling all the money. And by not having a second person handling the money, it makes everything easier for their accounting, I guess. So I had taken the business license in and was just going to start the account that one day, and they were like, "Well, you know what? Let's do this also." And I was like, "Okay, fine. We'll put it off for another week." And so I think, well, another few weeks, but I'll probably be able to go in on Saturday morning and get it set up now. So
Hey, Tony, one idea when you list the attendees, you might put their titles or past titles along Carl's idea that there's a lot of officers and previous officers here. I think I'm the only one who's not. So,
Oh,
That is a good idea.
Well, and John Elvert was a past president.
oh, that's true. Yes, pass.
Very true.
as of today, I'm still a committee chair. That matters.
I saw you trying to not be, though.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll come back around to that.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And now we'll make it easier for the next person in however odd many years when I'm actually allowed to ride off into the sunset with it.
You have our vote of confidence.
Well, thanks for taking care of that, Andrew. Banks are never any fun, but appreciate it. Okay, the next thing on our agenda was an update on the conferences that are happening this year. The PPA will officially be joining the GLIPA conference in Grand Rapids, Michigan, October 20th to 24th, 2026. So it is not a full WAC participation. There's a little bit of uncertainty about what's actually happening with the other regions, but as far as PPA is concerned, we will be attending like our official conference for this year, where the business meeting will happen is going to be in Grand Rapids.
If I remember correctly, I do believe GPPA specifically is officially going to SEPA this year.
Okay.
I believe so.
So that's the plan for this year. The conference committee, which I'll give some of those updates later when we get to that point in the agenda too. But we had a good talk with with Renee Kerrigan from GLIPA about how we can be helpful. And half this group was also involved in that conversation. So you're watching the recording, now you know. Okay, other conferences that are happening this week, just to have them out there on the record. IPS is in Fukuoka, Japan in June. There's a film festival before, some post-conference things after. The link to that page is in the agenda notes, which we'll make sure the link to this gets posted where everybody is able to access it. Thanks for putting that link, Alan. When I put this on the agenda previously, they didn't have any information about 2026 yet. Is there anything on there at this point?
Well, I don't know if that's what's on the PPA website. I think they have something now. Yeah, it's an announcement.
Ah, great. That wasn't even there when I looked last week. So
yeah,
perfect. Does anyone already know if they're planning to go
For IPS.
for, well, GLIPA? Let's start with
Oh,
GLIPA.
for GLIPA.
The GLIPA.
Yes, I will be at GLIPA.
If we add PPA,
no
it sounds
excuses.
silly, and
I
maybe
can
we call it-
drive this
Is that why
time.
you went back there? You'd be really close the next.
I will probably try this year.
I'm planning to go. We'll see. But
I've never been to Grand Rapids Public Museum. It seems like a cool place. I'm excited.
I think we should make sure that the conference is officially titled GLIPA, because that's what all of the letters spell out. Is anyone going to Japan?
I thought about it, but then I was like, I would probably have to front a lot of the bill myself, and also I just moved, so I was like, that's too much for this year. I'll try to think about 2028 is in South America,
Buenos Aires.
Argentina,
Buenos
Buenos Aires.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll try for that one.
If we had free transporter services, I would probably go.
mhm.
I'm still debating. So I'm registered, but haven't purchased a ticket.
There is also SEPA in Cartersville, Georgia in August. And then MAPS is in May, so actually in just another 6 weeks or so. And then LIPS is happening in at Seminole State College in Florida the first week of August. There's no further details about it yet, other than just that information from what I could find. And then the ASTC conference is in Phoenix. And that's in, oh, I didn't put the date in there, but that's in, I think, September.
I need to remember, I might try to poke Patrick, my new boss, to go to Lips because he hasn't had as much experience with live and interactive stuff as I have. And it might be good for him to get some experience with that. So I might see if he wants to go to that one.
Nice.
Gotta indoctrinate everybody with live and interactive programming.
There you go. Sounded like you were saying that they do some live Star Show before the.
Yeah, they definitely do
Conference.
live stuff. They do live stuff before their like pre-recorded shows, and then they do a live show that's completely live, but there's not a lot of interaction with a lot of what I've seen. Like it's a lot of lecture-y kind of shows, so I want to try to incorporate some more like asking questions and interacting with the audience a bit more.
That kind of sums up the conferences for what I think that I hit all of the regional ones that were happening plus IPS. All of that's in the agenda, and there's links to find the information for that. And before we move on to committee updates, it's not really a committee, but PPA webinars. Rosemary, Alan, do you have anything you'd like to share about upcoming webinars that are exciting or other information to share?
I'll say just a little bit and then Alan can say more. for a couple of reasons. One of the upcoming webinars is his, the one this Friday. Um, so I'll let Alan talk about his, but then on April, Jeff Nee's going to give sort of a seminar discussion on AI, artificial intelligence in your dome. And he's also interested in knowing what people's questions are, what they're interested in. So in the description on there, it's got his email and so forth to send him some information. I may elevate that request a little bit. We'll do the first posting for that talk in early April. Alan has one coming up this week and then two more this year. We don't have any others specifically scheduled. We've got a couple in the works, and I'll let Alan talk about his, and then maybe he can tell us something about some other activity going on and discussions about the seminars.
Okay. Okay. So I expect you all to come this Friday. It's at noon. Actually, come if you feel like it, or if it's of interest to you. The topic is organizational patterns in audience participation programs. And I find it a really, really interesting topic. I find it that way because I've done a lot of activities that are in these various organizational, how you organize the audience to be involved. So I'm looking forward to that, and everybody's invited to come. It's at noon on Friday, noon Pacific time.
Oh,
And which is a different time. And actually, I have a question for this group. I chose noon, I don't know, because I thought 2 p.m. was a little bit late for people like in the European universe to come, and if we want people from Europe to come. And it's just a little later than 11 a.m., which is our usual time. So this is the first time it's ever been a noontime seminar, Pacific time. But I'm wondering, I guess there's two questions associated with, and both of them kind of came up we had a meeting this morning with Jenny Shipway who is the chair of the IPS Education Committee, she's from Britain, and then Dorothea, I can't pronounce her last name, from Germany. And we were talking about times, what times would be good for people in different locales. And Jenny actually brought up this is actually, I'm struggling with this question. She said people want to get out, people especially in Europe would want to get out and wouldn't want to come to an evening thing on Friday evening. So, can you make it a different day of the week? And I was wondering, I think the reason I originally chose Fridays way back when, but during the day on Fridays, was because it was just an end of the week and it's kind of a thank God it's Friday special event kind of thing.
Well, for us on the East Coast, it's 5 o'clock when you start. So it kind of runs into dinner time if it goes over an hour and a half.
So that's
earlier would be preferable for me, but
earlier.
doesn't matter.
Okay,
I mean, if you started earlier.
well, he's talking about starting at noon. That would be 3 o'clock Eastern time, right?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That works. Okay, so another idea is, do we want to change the day of the week? Is it the last Friday of the month or the last Thursday of the month or the first? I mean, would another day be acceptable, or what do you think is the best day of the week?
Personally, I'm very used to it being Friday, but I guess I can adapt if if we needed to change.
I do think that sometime between Tuesday and Thursday is good just because a lot of folks have like I'm going to be for instance I and have been historically on like a Sunday through Thursday shift. There's people that are Tuesday through Saturday. So like if you do like the middle of the week, I feel like you're more likely to capture more people that are working. Um so either a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. Of those three, I don't know. I don't know if one's better than another one, but
Well, Thursday is closer to Friday, so that would be less of a shock to Carl.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll just be 24 hours late.
And yet,
Friday seems comfortable to me, but I don't have a strict job, so I'd probably come anytime.
okay, we have two other people who haven't weighed in.
Wednesday, I mean, I'm flexible. Um, Wednesday is in the middle of the week. It's between Tuesday and Thursday, but if we keep it on Friday, it's fine with me, but I'd be more comfortable with an earlier time.
Okay, that's appreciated. Any other strong opinions or weak opinions?
I think the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in that range, I think is a good point that Mary made about catching a lot of overlapping like schedules with people who might be overlapping from weekend days that way.
Yeah.
I never seem to be able to make them on Fridays. I don't work on for ASP on Fridays, but have other things that I always end up doing at that time. Um, but you know, there's always other meetings that are happening during the other days. The other question that you were also maybe considering is, are we prioritizing the PPA region or willing to like flex our own availability to suit the needs of others?
Okay, that's the whole other. That's another. That brings me to the international meeting that we had this morning, which was related. And the idea there is the education committee could help out in organizing these things. And there were two ways that I suggested to them, which seemed viable. One is that we get presenters from the committee to commit to presenting seminars. And that can work as long as the time is such that it works for Europe as well. And the consensus there was that 4 p.m. their time, which is 1500 or 16, yeah, 1500 Universal Time.
16.
Well, in Germany, it's like I
Oh,
think an hour later. So
oh yeah. I wasn't
Yeah,
counting Germany.
it's very confusing.
yeah, only in Portugal and England is it an hour earlier.
Right.
The rest of the Europe is 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, 9 hours ahead of Pacific.
Right. So if we had 11 a.m. or noon ones would be fine with them. So that's one option. Another option is that there might be a couple people on the committee who want to join in with Rosemary and me to recruit seminar leaders or seminar speakers. And those would be specifically for educational topics. That seemed to be important to the education committee. I don't know why, but there are some people who tend to. There's some disagreement, mostly me, that disagrees about that. Almost every topic is of interest to the educational community.
I was going to say that too. What isn't education in some way or another, you know? Yeah,
But there are people who are skeptical of that for some
Well, I
reason.
think there are people who would, tend to shy away if they're specifically looking at the educational aspect of things. There are some who would shy away from technical aspects, possibly, and things like that. So, some of you know, a lot of folks, if they actually have staff at a planetarium. They have a staff that's doing technical stuff, and they have a staff that's doing educational stuff, and nary the in between kind of a thing for
Yeah.
some places.
Yeah. Or even like admin stuff too is in
Yeah.
education. Yeah.
And so it's not quite always necessarily like it is here where we all do everything. So, or like, my planetarium where there's two of us. So,
So this is just the beginning of a relationship with them, and I don't, some might be concerned that we don't want to be, uh, I forget what, there's a word for that, we're being preempted by the IPS Education
Being
Committee, and
absorbed by them.
absorb or taken over, that they
Yeah.
would be taking it over. I don't think that there's any danger of that.
Okay. We wanted to keep that PPA part of the title anyway, somehow.
But the other thing I thought of, which is a new idea for today, just for today, is that we could have, and this may happen in May for the May seminar, the idea that we have just a topic and not a presenter per se, that somebody may be selected to, or somebody may volunteer or be picked to be a moderator or a facilitator, but that there be no presenter, that we just talk about a topic. And one, for example, we could have a topic of problem audiences. Like what do you do about the weird questions, or what do you do about rowdy kids, or think there's all kind, or just have a sharing of what's the worst incident you've ever had. I think we did that. I think we did that in one session just informally, but what do you think of the idea of having a topic focused thing with no real presenter?
Is that just like for some of the seminars, or is that the proposal for a standard format?
Well, to be honest, it's to when we cannot find a presenter. We
Or we
dream
have
up
a
a
good, or
topic.
we have a good, or we have a good question
Yeah,
that we're interested in,
yeah.
whoever we are.
Because finding presenters is not trivial. It's something that takes time and energy.
No, I think that can work great. I think you've pulled that off before on things when we just sort of have a loose get together of stuff with maybe just a few ideas as to things we can talk about, and that's worked quite well in the past. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, and I
doable.
think you even remember when we had an old timers
I was
session.
thinking of that. Yes, and that was just
I was
pre-form.
there for that.
Yeah, and it was very pre-form and very
Should have another one.
very educational.
Actually, if we had something like this that was more of a free-flowing idea seminar, there might be some good ideas that come up and people could latch onto those ideas and then want to volunteer to present on one of these seminars.
Yeah.
That
But
it would
also, another idea as well is to try to work on some cross uh advertisements, because that's what the community chats are already that we're doing with IPS. Like Alan was there earlier. Like those are more like open topics. And we actually with those we need to potentially we're thinking about having more specific topics. So what you're talking about is kind of in between like a PPA webinar and a community chat, but it might be good to like be better about letting people know that when we're doing each of our things that the other things are also happening, because I think that people don't always know that the other one's going on.
Another idea is to approach one of the other regionals and ask them to have a joint PPA seminar with them, maybe once a year or something like that, and try to get more people from other parts of the US to attend.
Especially since we're partnering up with GLIPA again.
Yeah.
That might be nice.
Well, aren't these PPA seminars broadly broadcast? I mean, I would think that other regionals would pick up on it and anybody interested would join. I'm a little disappointed that or dismayed that so few are attending today's meeting. I
Yep.
thought there'd be a
Pretty
lot
typical.
more.
No, it's pretty typical. But I do think I don't know the best way to try to fix this, but I do know that like even though the PPA webinars are open to everybody and are posted on YouTube, there still seems to be in the wider planetarium community the idea that it's a PPA thing
Yeah.
and only a PPA thing.
No,
So
well, it's advertised monthly on when it comes up on the IPS communicator.
it is, but I
So
don't
it's
know
not.
why, but for some reason it still seems to be the vibe that people think it's just for PPA.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody recognizes it's hosted by PPA, but we get people from Brazil,
All over the
Yeah,
Portugal,
world.
Portugal.
Yeah.
regular
Um,
New
yeah,
Zealand.
yep.
Those people tend to be regulars, though.
Yeah,
I
those are
mean,
the regulars. Yeah. I guess
um,
it's just people who crave contact with other planetarium people.
Or
you know,
PPA.
we've talked about asking various regionals to put it on their newsletter or whatever they go out. And maybe that's a way of kind of emphasizing that it's not just PPA. Um, it, it seems like we advertise it so many ways, but I don't know if we've ever actually done that second step of emailing somebody from each of the other regionals and asking them to broadcast it within their own, list of members.
But then then we're becoming more of an instrument of IPS in a way. And I don't mind that. I think that's actually one of the original concepts of it is that it would be serving PPA and serving IPS and anybody who wants to join in. Um, Started out with PPA, but it's an interesting point, Mary, that if there are people who view it as a PPA thing, it's at least because we started it and hosted it. Um, could be because they think it's exclusive to PPA, but I don't know. I hope not.
Well, you know what? I think it goes back to what we were talking about, that we didn't want to relinquish the idea that this is a PPA originated thing, and we have sort of um, there's a certain amount of prestige to it. But if you put it as PPA hosted but internationally um, attended, something like that, we could do both. So it's not one or the other. Like if you took PPA out of the title of it or something, that would be kind of a shame. And and I don't know if you'd gain more, but if you kind of make it sound more like it's hosted by the PPA, but it's certainly open to everybody, and somehow accentuate that.
PPA is not in the title of it.
I always put it in the title when I discuss it. Yeah,
What about an international planetarium seminar?
hosted by PPA, originated by.
Okay, you guys. If now I'm starting to think way back when this first started, and I have to take the credit and the blame for doing it. But
You, Ellen.
at the time, I think there was a question in my own mind as to whether I should approach this because I was IPS webmaster at the time and active in the IPS, and I still am. So there was a question in my mind as whether it should be a IPS thing or a PPA originated thing. And somehow I chose PPA. But it was a little bit arbitrary. I was thinking about it should be an IPS thing.
Well, I think it's been a wonderful thing for PPA to have as a um, something we do, and really I think accentuates our presence in the planetarium world all over. Um, but I also understand that we want to include everybody, and that's that's one of the things that we want to do so that spread the word. So it's not even just IPS or PPA, but any planetarium. Anybody interested in planetariums is welcome.
Yep. And we don't restrict the access to it. We don't restrict the access to the recordings. Something something I've noticed about some other regionals, notably GLIPA and SEPA, but I think probably most other regionals restrict access to things, make them members only. And I think we have, or at least in my mind, have consciously resisted that for the PPA. We just want it open and exchange with no restrictions of that sort, because in my mind it didn't make it well. if people join a group of professionals because they get certain benefits from it, that's a bad basis, because it means that they're not really, the basis is not their contribution to it. The basis is their, what can it give me, not what can I give it. And I resist that. I think an organization can only be really effective if everybody contributes somehow.
Yeah, that was a perennial problem for IPS when I was president. I mean, before and after. I mean, because of dwindling or stagnant membership, try to we try to advertise our benefits, and the more benefits we thought, more memberships we would get, but that didn't really prove to be true.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
At least not in the planetarium world. There may be some places where a subscription is a moneymaker. Okay, I think we're way beyond. I think I'm done with my report.
Good discussion.
I do want to point out the YouTube recordings have like a good number of views. So people are not necessarily joining live, but like the one with Ron Proctor from last month has 113 views in 3 weeks. The one that my ASP colleague Chanel did in January has 199 views, right? So I think that there's still the impact and the pretty good reach. I think it just maybe people can't join at that time.
Maybe we need to have an award for number of views. Presenter with the most number of views.
Well, at the moment, it looks like that goes to Ken Brandt and Dave Weinrich for their
Really?
one from last May. It has 598 views.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have that idea at all. I had often wondered, because I usually look at it soon after we post. And sometimes I do 10 views myself, just in the process of checking things out and so forth. So that's really good to know that we got that many.
Sorry, it actually goes to Alan, who has the Planetarium Educators Workshop 1 has 832 views.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Way to go.
That's embarrassing. Because there were some serious problems with that session,
We shouldn't tell people this. They're getting all nervous.
I mean, it went well, but I've learned some things since then.
You've had 2 sessions, Alan, so far. Which session is that?
Oh, is it the first one or the second one? Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah, see, that's okay. This is good information. It's the one I thought was least successful.
And if you're signed into YouTube, it does not count multiple views by the same person towards that total. So I don't think you have to worry, Rosemary, when you're if you're trying 10 times to make sure that things are going right. It's not artificially inflating. So
it also doesn't tell you how long they spent in their view. I don't think.
I think that for the views on YouTube, it is to completion.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, yes. I do not think it counts partial views towards
Mhm.
completion. That is people who watched the whole thing.
That's absolutely flabbergasting because ours go way usually more than an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm sure on the like admin side, you'd be able to get some of those
Mhm.
metrics and stuff. Let's move things along to Rosemary. Do you want to talk about the IDEA committee?
Sure. So, this year it's been inactive. I am currently the chair, and I've been active with too many other things going on. I had a couple of grants, and getting grants means obligations. And so I've had a lot of stuff going on, and also some regional STEM events and stuff. So I am thinking that I should probably step down. I know I won't do anything until the summer. I would like to see if there's somebody else who would like to take over, get some new ideas into it. So that's my report. Nothing since the last time, and possibly a change in the future.
Okay, great. Um, for conference committee, Jim is not here, who's the other co-chair along with me. Like I said before, we are planning to join the GLIPA conference in October. That's just kind of what we're going to be working on, communicating to PPA members that that will be our official conference for this year. And we have been talking about wanting to encourage some sub-regional meetups, and identify some people within the PPA region who might organize sub-regional meetups. So, for example, Jeremy has been talking about Southern California planetariums and arranging a meeting for that. Before Mary left the Bay Area, she had organized Bay Area Domes meeting. So they're less formal. They're not necessarily conferences. They're, about a day or a half day, or, whatever seems reasonable. It's very flexible. And the idea is really just to get people together more frequently than once a year for conferences, and to encourage in-person interactions and seeing each other's domes, and working over whatever common audience overlaps you might have within a certain area, right? So that's an idea that we're still kind of working through. We have our next conference committee meeting this coming Monday, where I think we'll talk about it a little bit more and try to take some steps to how we're going to enact making that happen. But that's kind of something new that we're going to hope to be able to do. And then the other one that we'll talk about again at our upcoming meeting will be a question that I had that maybe we can talk about with this group a little bit, is would it be useful to facilitate PPA connections at those other conferences? So have some sort of survey maybe that we send out, or a spreadsheet people can add their name and contact info for, and what hotel they're staying at, when they're getting there and leaving, and that kind of thing, to be able to help people know who from the different regions is actually going to these things. Because otherwise you don't really know until you get there, right? So it might be kind of fun to plan some meetups or stuff ahead of time. We've talked a little bit as well about wanting to try to make something happen before the ASTC conference in Phoenix in September. But maybe that is less of a formally organized thing and more of something like that, where we're kind of figuring out like who's going, and then among those folks, they can figure out what they're going to do, and if they're going to try to go see the fancy LED dome that the Phoenix Science Center has now. So that's kind of where we are for the conference committee. Any thoughts on that idea of wanting to facilitate those connections at conferences and such?
I think it's a good idea. I also think that the bullet point before that is a good idea too, about or supporting local or sub-regional things. And I think the question there is how would we do that? The question in both cases is how do we do that?
Mhm.
And for in-person meetings, I'm not sure that there's much that PPA can do other than provide a kind of a template for how you could organize such a thing.
Right.
But for if sub-regionals want to have a virtual get together, we can provide this platform, the PPA Zoom account if they want it.
I think
I definitely like the idea of getting together at the conferences in person too, in little subgroups and stuff. I know ASTC did that. They had like, um, specific like events and meetups and stuff you could do depending on like different groups that you were part of. So we could definitely try to do that at GLIPA this year, at least.
I've got the easiest sub-regional. I have a sub-regional meetup every day. I
what's the
have a
next
I have a state of Nevada regional meetup every day for PPA.
do you know what the next closest planetarium to you is?
Well, next closest to me is Southern California,
Yeah.
basically. I the one at Northern Arizona is also about the same. It's basically like 4.5 hours for me to get to any other planetarium, or 7 in my own state. So
Yes.
You know,
That's Reno.
yeah, up in Reno, it's about a 7-hour drive.
wow.
So
What about Flagstaff?
oh, yeah, that's the one at Northern Arizona,
Uh,
Flagstaff. Yeah, they're about the same distance. It's about the same distance drive as to Southern California for me.
Aren't they hiring at the college in Reno for their planetarium right now too?
No, they're getting ready to put in an LED dome.
There
So
was a job posting in Reno. Like,
really? Okay, well,
yeah.
maybe he's leaving. He had been the Challenger Center before, and they hired him, and then he brought I think the Challenger Center went under in Reno after the pandemic, and then his wife started working at the planetarium also, and they got one of their donors, I think from Challenger Center, offered them the LED dome, and they're going like the LED dome gets installed starting May 4th.
Wow.
Is
So,
that it might be a different one because this was at a college, I think.
well, it's yeah, the University of Nevada, Reno.
Oh,
But
okay.
Fleshman Planetarium, right?
Fleischman, yeah.
No, not
yeah.
It wasn't Fleischman, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it was a different one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have heard
Let
rumors
me
of
look.
I've heard rumors of Nevada State wanting to create a planetarium in Las Vegas, and I'm like, go for it. You'll have the same problems I do, but I don't think that that's anywhere past just somebody's secret wish list. So, but yeah, there's only the two of us in Nevada. It's just Fleischman and me, and so and
And
Fleischman's getting LED dome.
and that point is kind of why what the discussions that we've had is like how do we try to divide the subregionals right
Mm.
within PPA because it's a big space and it doesn't necessarily make sense to divide it up by state necessarily because like a California state meeting um, is a lot of domes and a lot of things, right? So we in some ways we've been talking about how to figure out how to make it more like determined by those who want to organize or make some suggestions of like here's who we think you would be wanting to organize with so there will hopefully be some more information about that coming soon. um,
It's interesting that Arizona was I think originally SWAP, Southwestern Association of Planetariums. It sounds like for PPA, a sub-regional would be Southern, but for us it'd be Southwest. Actually, what's happening with SWAP is kind of interesting. They're almost dissolving in a way, not quite. There's kind of
yeah, I think SEPA is absorbing those planetarium states.
They're in the process, yeah.
Yeah. And we voted on it, whether we wanted to go and move ahead. And I think that passed unanimously. So um, it's
But it
all
could
going to
be
be.
it could be that Arizona is ripe for us to pick off as part of the PPA. And that could be, Andrew, you might be part of Southern California and Arizona,
Yeah,
maybe.
if that was the case.
Yeah.
So it looks like this job description is they want to, it looks like they're trying to hire people to do the technical aspects of the LED dome. This is not for the planetarium manager position.
Oh, gotcha.
This is for two techs to help with the LED dome, it looks like. Now, granted, their pay,
Yeah.
that's
Well, an
awfully good.
LED, I mean, LED dome doesn't necessarily mean it's not a planetarium. You can
Well,
have
no,
a,
no. But
yeah,
what I mean is this looks like they're trying to hire people to actually come in and be the tech people for the LED.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm gonna assume that yeah, it's just they're looking for people to actually. My guess is they probably have someone already in mind, um, because they only gave what a month and a half, so it's probably a one of those things where they're gonna slot folks who they already have in there.
Strong internal candidate.
Yeah, probably. Or it may be also that there's a someone who they're going to try and bring in from Cosm or something like that already as well. Maybe Cosm has like one of their interns or something who's willing to go do that. And to go and be basically like the liaison between Cosm and Reno for the new for the new dome. But yeah, because they have the position is I think it's manager, planetarium manager is the one. But yeah, they were kind of the same boat. They had two people. It was just the everyday manager planetarium and then the basically what amounts to the administrative assistant, which is the way I am here. So, but good
Well,
tech
let's
job.
let's move things along a little bit because we still want to hear from the mini grants committee and the outreach and reach committee, and then have our member round robin. And Reza, I want to make sure that you know that you are welcome to speak, have the floor at any point if you have comments or anything else that you want to share too. Doesn't only have to be a cameras on, folks. Yeah. But we'll talk about what we're all doing in our domes in a little bit too. But maybe for now, let's move to the mini grants committee. Carl, do you have anything to share from that?
Mini grants committee. Well, we got quite a few of the members here already. Yeah, nothing specific. We're about ready to start talking about this year's grants, I believe. I sent out a message, Alan and John. I think you got that sometime soon, the next few weeks. I don't know. Should they start thinking about it? This is about when we usually do it, right? Is that correct, Helen, John?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of this committee kind of is real active for a matter of a few weeks, getting everything set, going through things, maybe a month, 2 months, and then we just wait for responses and things. And I think we're all pretty well caught up with last, except maybe one still out waiting. Maybe.
I need to pipe up here and say I was a member of the committee. I am a member of the committee mainly because I was treasurer.
Oh, that
So,
brings something.
so the
Yes.
question is, should Andrew be? Is he willing to be on the committee? Because Andrew,
Yeah,
you are going to have to send money to these people.
yeah. I will.
Uh,
I will join in. So you can
yes,
go
if
ahead and
I was going to do that, extend an invitation to be part of the committee, Andrew, that would be great because
yep.
that would help a lot. It would expedite uh,
Yep, I'm willing.
coordinations. Yeah. So okay, good. Yeah. That occurred to me just the other day. I went, wait a minute. It's important to have the treasurer as being part of this.
Yeah, he knows how much money we've got.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big help. So yeah, nothing other than that to report from the committee, unless somebody else can think of something. The grants committee. I really feel the grants committee is a really important committee that the PPA does. I think it's just it shows that we're trying to help, to be an assistant to all. So that's sort of one of the benefits, I think. Even though you don't have to be a PPA member to receive a grant from the PPA, we do consider that as some get extra points for that. But anyway, that's I guess the report for that committee.
It's one of the late benefits of the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It actually grew out of an IPS mini grants that they were doing, and they weren't able to fulfill all the grants that they had. And I think it was Michelle Wistison approached me and said, "Hey, would PPA be willing to, maybe do something in the region?" And it got me thinking. I was president at that time, and yeah, that grew out of it. And I think it's been a really helpful, useful, and great addition for PPA.
Well, and we've outlasted the IPS
Yeah, it's true.
in the giving of grants.
And other affiliates have kind of picked up on it as well and doing the same thing. So yeah, it's been a good thing.
Okay, Outreach Inreach Committee.
Yeah. And I'm back again. Outreach Inreach. Yeah, I guess all I can report is I did visit a planetarium, and it should be coming out in the next Great Western Observer. Wrote an article. Does anybody know if Jack has posted that yet? Jack Northrup?
Yes, he
Is it
posted
out?
it.
Oh, really?
It's
He
out.
never mentions. Probably announced that on the PPA group. If perhaps Tony, as secretary, could you follow through? And
Don't they usually post it? Why didn't they post it?
well, it's posted. I mean, it's available, but
No, I thought there was usually an announcement that was sent out.
yeah, I haven't seen an announcement myself.
Is that not a Jack thing? Who usually does that? Let me
Jack
see.
Northrup is the one who, of course, is the editor, so he
It looks like it's posted, but maybe he just hasn't gotten around to making
mentioned
the
it. Yeah,
announcement.
hasn't announced it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah. So I hadn't seen it yet, but
Where did you visit though, Carl?
oh, I visited
The WAC website?
uh, for my planetarium visit for the
Planetarium visit.
yeah, my planetarium visit was to De Anza College. Went and visited Toshi,
Nice.
and it's 10-year since I retired from there, so I thought that would be a good thing. And he just finished doing a major renovations, and so yeah, read all about it. Yeah,
He got RSA Cosmos, is that right?
right.
Okay.
Changed the system, their operating system for the planetarium for the digital part, and actually
Mhm.
both because they're hybrid.
Oh,
Did he get the optical machine working? When I went and visited him back in November when I was down there, and the optical stuff wasn't working. Did that get fixed?
oh,
You
bummer.
must have just hit it at a bad time. Yeah, it's been pretty
Okay.
reliable. Yeah, it's working
Yeah,
fine.
I've heard bad things about the hybrid system there. So
Really? Well,
yeah,
Yeah, when I
yeah,
visited
I know
him, he
that
was like, they just don't talk to each other. Each one works independently, but they weren't talking to each other.
at the Enza, really, huh? Because
Yeah.
they always did while I was there, and that was for quite a long time. And then he says they're working fine now too. So I know he was having some problems there, but um, it's nice
Tragic.
having. I really like the hybrid.
Tragic when the AIs don't talk to each other.
They hadn't gotten to being AIs yet, but I guess they were working on it. Um, so yeah, that's inreach outreach. Now the last time we had a meeting, Mary, you were there. You and Ryan Moore. I think that's just the three of us are part of that committee. Ryan,
Well, not me anymore.
yeah, I know. So it's just me and in fact, I'll throw it out there. Anybody who's watching this later too, there's room on the inreach outreach committee for more members. Anybody like to join? We should have Jeremy be part of it because he's very into visiting planetariums and things down there. But we're talking about other things that the InReach Outreach Committee could do. And Ryan put together like a little questionnaire that we could send out. And I don't think that ever actually got sent, but it was a very nice questionnaire. And I'll have to maybe take a look at working on that myself since.
Would that go to PPA members or to a larger
That
distribution
was
of?
the idea, is to send it out to PPA members, at least for starters. Yeah. And it was mostly just a matter of, feelers, see what people would like an outreach or inreach, in this case, committee to, what kind of.
Yeah. Also, Carl, that would be a good thing for you guys to link up with the conference committee if they're trying to help like local
We had
regionals
talked
get
about that.
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the connections that we would make there. So I guess that's the report from the Outreach Inreach Committee.
I unfortunately need to leave. So it's after 6, but thanks for putting this together, Tony, and great to see everybody.
Good seeing you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
I'll see you on Friday.
Thanks, John.
Okay, take care.
Well, bring us around to our member round robin of sharing. I thought a prompt question, which you can go with or not. But what is your biggest win at your dome from this past quarter? So this last quarter being from the last time we met in December until now, what has been your biggest win? Would anybody like to start?
Oh, sure, I will.
Great.
I finally got the contracts folks to look at letting us bring in Mesmerica. I've only been trying for 5 years, 6 years now, something like that, before the pandemic originally. And so we have new contracts people. So they were like, yeah, we can do this. And I'm like, where were you guys when I've been trying this for so long? And then also went out and bought, I had the planetarium buy an Insta360 X5 because wanted to try seeing how it would work getting it up under the dome, and it's pretty nice having all the extra resolution, at least in the one direction, a little more resolution than the Kodak Pix Pro 4K has, which I've enjoyed using immensely. But now I have 2 cameras that I can use to film live action stuff and put it up on the dome. So lots of good stuff. Still looking for my 400 grand, but that's never going to happen, it feels like. So, so yeah, that's my stuff. Big wins.
My win is obvious. I got a job.
Yay.
So I'm still in the planetarium field. Yay.
My win is I don't know if Mary appreciates this very much because my planetarium is the one where she was at. And have trouble. I have some problems thinking about it as my planetarium anymore, but it is, and I have had conversations with Dan Tell. You've heard of him, Mary. I think I think most people have heard of him. Has his business, and I've been in conversation with people at Lawrence Hall about contracting with him to do some things to keep the planetarium going. But so that wasn't my doing, but it's a positive, I think, a positive thing for the planetarium to not die altogether.
Yeah, they seem to have dropped the ball a bit on that though, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Well, if they're they're setting Dan up as a vendor, so they'll be able to pay him to come out.
So I'll dip in. I guess our win was getting the 6-meter inflatable dome and a Digitalis system to go with it. We got a system that's the same professional level that we have for the fixed dome, so everything's compatible. It just comes with more work. So I don't know if it's a win or not, but we did get that grant kind of finished off with that final purchase. And so downside is the budget in Juneau is not great again. Natural disasters, people restricting how the city can putting a caps on taxes and stuff like that at a bad time. But anyway, I have an application in for another grant for next year. I got that in, which would provide for bus transportation and some movie licenses for the planetarium. So we'll see how that goes.
So out here in Hawaii, we've been unfortunately losing some of our great presenters who are astronomy students and been scrambling to hire. I didn't realize what a great team I had coming in. So I'm kind of trying to keep it together. We lost one of our best presenters to a telescope while he was an undergrad, and that was kind of a big loss for us. It's sad that he can't work for the telescope and us, but because it's a university thing, you can't have two jobs. But in terms of wins, like we've been getting some interesting pieces submitted. So someone was visiting Hawaii and they did like a Gaussian splat of the marsh up on Kauai, and they took a model of the larynx of the Kauai o'o bird. And so we just had a show last week, Alakai 177, where we had sort of a Gaussian splat that was, fairly more like ambient visuals to go with it. And then there was some sort of motion things that happened with the splat, so it kind of flocked around a little bit, but it was the bird calls themselves and like recreating an immersive space that was supposed to present basically the morning dawn chorus for this bird that has been extinct now for 40 years. So yeah, that was a pretty cool thing to be able to see come to fruition. I've been trying to get more presentations in the dome from different parts of the university to really show it off as a data visualization space and an immersive space for creating a really cool environment and an immersive understanding of something. So that was a good win. And right now, just trying to get people hired so we have good coverage for the summer next year.
All right.
Carl, do you have anything?
Not really. It's other than visiting my old home away from home, seeing a lot of old friends and stuff, and the place really looks a lot the same, but beautiful new projectors they've installed now. The contrast is high enough so that you can have the projectors on at the same time. You've got the infinium doing the optical stars, and looks beautiful. So it looks really nice. So yeah, it's been Toshi's taking good care of the place.
Well, for me, ASP stuff, we are working on all of our online learning things. I don't remember when it happened. I think it might have been a little bit before our last quarterly meeting, but I got made the online learning program manager. So having a little bit more authority to make decisions about our Learn at ASP like programs and all of the workshops and stuff that we're doing to actually try to drive it in a particular direction. Right now, we're trying to get some more like on-demand content going. So taking some of the stuff we've done from past workshops and repurposing it for not for like access at any point, and not just when things are happening live. And then some really early conversations with Alan about bringing some of the planetarium educators workshop series that he's been doing as some of the webinars, and maybe trying to build that into a cohesive, like on-demand training program that can live, like ASP will house it within our system, and then it gets kind of put together by Alan and we're going to talk to Shannon from IPS about some other steps with that too. So
I should add that that was a really good thing that happened at our planetarium to connect with ASP.
yeah, we ASP is really still trying to support the planetarium community as much as we can, because we have a couple of us who have worked in planetariums as well. So and then my WSU planetarium side, nothing really changes there. I get to do a school show this Friday, and then I think I'm doing the Sunday show coming up as well, and it's always really fun. And so that's about it for me. Anything else for anybody else? Maybe we'll end things here with the recordings. So I'll go ahead and do that. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you for a future time.